Hello people, welcome to another episode of my YouTube videos. Today I will show you what tools I use for spoon carving, and I will also give my approach on what a good beginner's spoon carving set is. There's a ton of different tools, and as many different tools there are also a lot of good and bad quality. And of course the price, because some of those tools are really expensive, but if it's high quality, high price, man, it's a win-win, definitely. So I will run through some of what I think is good beginner set, and of course what I use. So stay tuned, and please like and subscribe my channel and my videos, especially here in my YouTube build up beginning, so thank you. As I mentioned before, there is a lot of different spoon knives out there, and I have a pretty nice selection of different from different makers and with different forms and designs. The first one I would like to show you is actually one of the old Robin Wood open curves with a handle from a guy called Morten Fredberg, or Morten Fredberg in English. It looks like this, and as you can see here, it's pretty open, and if we compare it to one of the new ones here, you can see they have a slightly different curve. And I'm not sure if the new one here is a bit too open, but well, both works, but I really like this one over here, the old one. This is the new and open curve, new design, and here is the other one. That's just a small one with this small handle here. But this works really well, and I don't have a lot of experience with this long handle, but I will test it out in a few videos soon. So that was two of those I use. The other one, those I have been carving most spoons with, is actually Hans Carlson. And I have two here. So I have an open curve and a closed one, or compound. This one here is the normal size. It's a left hand, as I use this to make the push cuts. And then I have the the other open one, which is, I think this is the one I have carved most spoons with. It's a bit more open and a right hand and works really well, but that's a bit more closed if we take the old, compare it to the old. And it looks like it have the same size, and it actually almost also does have that a bit, but it works a bit more different, and it's a fantastic one nevertheless. And then there's the updated spoon knives from Morakniv, or Morakniv. As you can see here, there's a big difference. This is a left hand, and that's, I think I have a right handed somewhere, but it doesn't matter. It's the same profile. Here you have the open curve. This is the 164, and I think this is 162. This is a double-edged one, and people who know me and know how I work know that I hate double-edged tools. It's really dangerous to work with. So I just take and remove the one edge. Of course, this edge here, because that's the lefty. This works so much better than the old models, and this is also very nice to smoothen things out. I think, as Woodsman's Finest, Maximilian said that might be the best value for money spoon knives you can get. Let's see it right here. So I think I will always recommend those because they are cheap and they have reground the profile, and they have made those spoon knives way better than they were before. I think personally that the hand forged spoon knives from Hans Carlson or might be the best ever. Nick Westerman is absolutely the best, but they're also really expensive, and there might be 1 or 2 years waiting or time, waiting time on the waiting list. So nevertheless, you can still get really good quality and get your spoon knives tomorrow or in a few days if you're ordering some more knife perhaps. And then I only have one Nick Westerman tool, and that's the 65mm Tuga Cam, and that's a beast, and that's here. This really is an amazing tool, an amazing quality, and I really recommend, if you have the opportunity, go buy his tools. Those are amazing. I have just ordered 2 spoon knives, and maybe if I'm lucky in a year I'll get them. The most essential tool in carving is of course the knife, and I'll show you here in a sec some of the knives I recommend for beginners, and show you what I use in my workshop. I think that one of the most well-known knives is the short Morakniv 120. I don't use this at all because I think it's too short, but for beginners it's very good. This one is the 106. And this one have the longer blade and is so much easier to work with. And I think this is the most popular by people who have a little more experience with carving. This one here, and then there's the Morakniv 105. I just customized this a bit. Carve here, making some facets in the handle, but this works so good. I really love these bits here, so important for me when I work with this knife. So if you buy the 105, don't remove these, keep them and use them here to make some support on in your palm. If you don't want them, buy another knife instead of removing them, because then they're gone. That's my opinion. And then here I have 2 really nice knives from Danny and Thomas, 2 other Danes who makes these fantastic knives. The small one here is very good for some more detailed carving. The handle here is, especially their handle on those 2 knives, are amazing. A bit thicker in the end, which supports your, I don't know what you call it, the base of the hand or something. It's very nice to work with. Really good. And the next one is a bit longer. I can try to compare them here. It's not much, but this works so good to make long, powerful cuts. To use that technique when you put the knife in front of your knee and pull back. Yeah, you can make some really nice cuts. So this is my favorite knife, and then I use a shorter one. And if I use the Mora, it's of course the 100 and the 106. So when we talk about axes, that might be the most expensive tool, and I think you don't really need an expensive axe in the beginning, or you don't need an expensive axe at all. It's all about mastering that tool. I think one of the first tools I bought was the axes I bought was the Gränsfors wildlife hatchet, and there's a lot of very, very skilled people who still use this. So I mean, if you got this, give it a proper sharpening and you don't need an other axe ever. But sometimes you buy other axes because they're cool, and I bought the Hans Carlson, which is also one of my favorite tools. For me, it just works a bit better than the wildlife hatchet because of the more rounded bevel, better balance. And the axe I use now is my favorite of them all, definitely, and that's the Julia Kalthoff carver, small carver I think it's called. And that's the best I've ever used. It's a bit heavier than the Hans Carlson, but yeah, I don't know what it is. It just works very, very well for me. Another axe I use almost as much as the Julia Kalthoff axe is Hans Carlson's smallest axe they make, 35 millimeters wide, and is perfect for spoons and small bowls. This small axe is amazing because it really helps when you have a lot of spoons to make. So you can take away, I don't know, 60, not even, I think more, 70% or 80 of all the wood you have to remove. It's so effective. I really recommend this tool for people who wants to make a lot of spoons and don't want to thrashing up their hands and wrists. When you work on a shave horse, you need one tool at least, and that's the draw knife. I use a small draw knife from Svante Jerv, and this works very, very good. It's dead straight with a small angle, but it's not curved. I don't like to work with band or draw knives that are too wide, so this is perfect for me. Another tool I use a lot, and you can see all of the tools I use in my videos. So this is just a small, quickly run through. But that's the Morakniv 220 splitting knife or push knife, which I use to push. The draw knife is flat on the bottom. I have one bevel, and this is a double bevel or two bevels. Not double edged, but just single edged with two bevels. So you can, if you try to pull with this will dig in, but to push with it makes it a lot easier to work. So that was just a run through of some of the tools I use. And then of course there are some of the gouges which I will show you in a second. So I have some of the gouges from the company in Switzerland called File. I have a small bent one here, and then a straight one, which happens to have a Tormek jig on it because I need to sharpen it. That's a straight one. But some of the gouges I use the most, and I really think is the best for me, is the Hans Carlsson. Here I have 2 dogleg gouges, which is very good for the bottom of cookses or small bowls. Go a little back here. It's might be a little difficult to see the profile, but yeah, got one here. While the other one here is a bit more wide. The new one here is very wide and really awesome to work with, and make some very wide and nice, wow, yeah, facets. And the last one is also one of the new, which is a heavy beading gouge here, which is a bit more curved, or not curved but round, shallow, which is also very nice to work with. The last tools I'm going to show you is also one of the more essential tools you need, is the folding saw, and this one is from Silky. You can get them a bit more longer, and well, I think this suits our spoon carving very good. For me, Silky is absolutely one of the best saws you can get. That keeps the edge for so long time. It's razor sharp, and yeah, it's a beast. And this one here is called the 117, and then you can get a bit larger, which is the Katana Boy. And you might seen this in the video where I sourced some of the maple. Whoop! This is crazy. And this will cut off your arms and legs in a second, or at least it will when it comes new and razor sharp from the producer. Yes, from the factory it's called. So yeah, that was some of the tools I use for spoon carving, and I mean there's a lot of money on my workshop bench here, and you don't need a lot of tools. You need a knife, you need a spoon knife, you need an axe, and then a saw. That's 4 tools, and then you need of course your wood material. Morakniv 120 for a beginner, the Morakniv 164 for as your first spoon knife, and then a backhoe axe in the hardware store, or the Gränsfors wildlife axe, and then see if you can find a small cheap pull saw, folding saw. You don't need to invest your money in the most expensive tools. As a beginner, it's very important that you get the feeling of carving. How do you use a knife? How do you use the different techniques? And then you need to learn how to sharpen your tools, which is absolutely essential. Start with that, and your journey will have a nice proper beginning. Yeah, I think that's what's about it. If you have any questions, or if you have any wishes for me to review a tool, let me know in the comments. I will be very happy to do that. Of course, if I own the tool. Again, please like and subscribe to my channel, that means a lot, and I will do all my best to make some nice videos for you. Take care and stay sharp.